I could turn you cold and say I got Midas touch. Worry about your soul, baby. The fire's hot. To burn the globe, I don't know to light it up. I know I put on a show, baby. It's all eyes on us.
Yo, what's good, everyone? This is Corbin, the Serpentine Skipper, aka Mr. 10 out of 10, and I'm here with another video review for my main boy, Taiaha, and his latest album, God Gave Me Courage. Oh, I've been excited for this one. Look, I've been a fan of this guy ever since I started talking to him a few years back. I think he's released two projects, if I'm not mistaken, prior to this one. And with every new release, it's got me hyped, it's got me pumped, it's got me excited. Any word you can think of that means excitement, I mean it, and I'm there for it. So, Taiaha is a guy who has a very interesting relationship with hip hop. You know, he likes to add so many different elements with his past releases, you know, and they carry on through this one. And I'm talking, you know, New Zealand reggae, I'm talking soul, I'm talking R&B elements, I'm talking hip hop, I'm talking just at some point even slightly ambient, because you know you feel this almost spiritual connection to his music. You can hear the heart that he has. You can hear just how intense he is, how intense his passion is for music. And I'll be honest, when I was lucky enough to hear the pre-release of this album, it blew me away. I remember listening to track after track, and I'm like, wow, like, how does he keep pulling this shit off? And not only does he keep pulling this shit off, but he keeps pulling this shit off with originality, with creativity, with balance, with passion. It's like every new album is something we've never seen before, but at the same time providing the same elements, the same flavors, the same spiritual highs and lows that we've come to know from his previous albums. So God Gave Me Courage. This is a 45, almost 46-minute album, 13 tracks, and boy, every song is a banger. I mean, the good thing about this album is every song complements the next. So, first of all, there's no filler on this album. Fuck that shit. You know, real artists know that they don't provide filler on this album. Same goes for this one. 13 tracks, pure fire. But what I was getting to before is that there's no moments on this album where it feels like a dud. There's no moments on this album that make you feel like, oh shit, like, you know, skip, or oh, this is the weak moment of the album, or this is the high moment. Of course, there are bangers that feel more like bangers than other tracks, but they all have their own purpose. They all have their own flow. They all have their own rhythm. They all have their own cadence, their own sonic cadence within the album. And that's what I really appreciate when I was listening to this album and the individual tracks. When you think about them as individual tracks, each track has its own reason to be there, has its own story, has its own message, has its own vibe, you know, and that all complements the actual album as a whole. So when it comes together, instead of just thinking of it as 13 individual tracks and think of it as the concept of an album, it all fits just as smooth as a running river. And I mean that, you know, it's just as the waves of the ocean, just like the synergy of the energy of the universe. This album comes together just as tightly. And you know, I'm not just saying that because he's my boy and that I've reviewed his albums in the past. You know, I'm the kind of guy that if I don't like the album, if I think the album's trash, I won't accept to do a review on it, only because, you know, I feel like there are plenty of reviewers out there who are willing to take that fall and review a bad album and call it shit if it's shit. I'm not that kind of guy. You know, I'd rather not get into a listener's head by reviewing a bad album and then they think, oh, because this one's bad, you know, I don't trust their future or previous releases. You know, I don't want to get into that psychology shit. So I won't take a case if it's not a good album. But I knew from the moment before I even heard the album, I knew that I can trust my boy, and he delivered on this album. It is a solid, tight 13 tracks. It's the kind of album that you can listen to while driving or walking your dog or whatever you're doing. Just put the headphones on and just zone out, relax, get in tune, become one with the energy of the universe. I'm talking real spiritual shit, and I love it because, you know, obviously, you know, I'm a fan of all kinds of genres, and of course within hip hop, I like my extreme shit, I love my heavy shit, I love my dark shit, my experimental shit, but also, of course, I love my smooth and passionate and spiritual shit, and this is what this album provides for me. So what I want you to do after listening to this, or even mid listening to this, fuck it, because mid pause this album, go find the album. I'm gonna link it. The Spotify link Go check it out. It is a phenomenal album. And also go check out the written reviews that I have coming as well, which will pretty much point out the same topics I've just talked about here. But anyway, great effort, fantastic album, and I can't wait to catch more of them when it comes out. That's the word from Mr. 10 out of 10, aka the Serpent Tongue.